In this process of moving from the semiconductor industry more into the software, that it seems it was basically driven by the fact that you were analyzing data first in the semiconductor industry, and then there was a natural evolution and going into other industry, analyzing data. What type of skills did you have to develop in this transition? Were there anything that changed going from one industry to the other one?
Most of the time, from an abstract level, the core skills are much the same. So in terms of data analytics, a strong sort of mathematical and statistical understanding and comprehension. Typically, it would be within each business, they often have their own flavor I guess, lingua franca that they use. And so that typically tends to be the piece that you need to develop when you switch between businesses, is understanding how they talk about data, the kind of business problems that they are trying to address, and then, the toolkits that they have available and that they, have standardized on.
What other adaptation you need to take into account when you move from, one industry to another?
I always worked in an R&D department, so always doing research and development. So there was always, I was always fortunate, I think, that the managers I had always had this sort of curiosity about the business. It's very collegiate, I guess, in many respects. I guess I was kind of lucky in my career in that I've been given quite a bit of free rein. So I found most of the management teams that I interacted with fairly, open and easy to work with. I guess the key problem is sitting down and taking the time to understand the domain they're in and the problem that they're trying to address. So that's where you have to spend most of your time initially, is really immersing yourself in what the business is doing.
If I understand it correctly, you say adaptation to different type of management styles and environments is less than an issue for somebody who's been in R&D, because those departments tend to give some level of freedom, some level of if you like, academic operation to a certain extent. But on the other end, understanding really the business is the challenge. It's the one thing that you would recommend anybody else that is trying to jump from one industry to another one, from one company to another one, and the typical Silicon Valley behavior of jumping from one thing to another and keeping kind of your brain always alive. So, and that's I think what our audience should retain: understand the language to understand the business, so that you can be effective as a data scientist.